Well guys, I did it. Another 1 a.m. RC purchase I'm definitely not going to regret. This can only be good. In this box lies the cheapest 1/10 scale fully ready to run hobby grade RC rock crawler that I could find online. At least it better be, otherwise I'm gonna have to contact the seller. Now before I start unboxing, let me explain the whole reason for this purchase. So as you may recall, I've got those awesome Scale 3D RC bodies that I 3D printed and showcased on this channel a while back. Well, I've been quietly working on those projects in the background, and I thought it would be cool to make a fully 3D printed chassis to go with the fully 3D printed bodies. But it turned out to be a lot of work with not the greatest reliability, so I might come back to that at some point, but I decided to go with plan B, and that's just buy a chassis just like a sane person would. But don't worry, I haven't gone sane on you just yet, because I thought, why buy something crazy like, I don't know, a brand new chassis kit or a brand new ready-to-run truck, when you could just buy a used rig and modify it or use it for parts? I mean, this is a YouTube video after all. I'm trying to entertain you all the best I can, and you don't want to just see me sitting here building a brand new kit, following the instructions piece by piece, just like everyone else, do you? Actually, a lot of you probably do. But hey, where's the surprise? Where's the risk? Where's the ingenuity? Where's the adventure? Where's the fun in that? Now, before you all think I'm completely crazy here, I did have some criteria for this purchase, and that was that it needed to be completely ready to run and fully functional, no projects, no bin of parts, no bare chassis, no damaged or non-working trucks, and it needed to be from a reputable, recognizable brand, basically something I can easily get parts for, and hopefully a platform I'm already familiar with, which in this case it is. Alright, but with all that said, here it is. I present to you the cheapest hobby grade RC crawler in the USA, at least that I could find at the time. And here it is, my new to me RC crawler. I think the ad for this said well loved, and I guess that's a nice way to put it. It's got some miles on it for sure, and I think about half of them were spent sliding on the roof, but overall this thing is mint. I mean, it is a Toyota 4Runner, so it'll last forever, right? Okay, so let's start with the body. I think this is an older Pro line, 2nd gen 4Runner body. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Now, as you might have noticed, there are just a few scratches and some paint defects here and there, and not a whole lot of detail to be honest, but it's got some great metallic blue paint, and check out this beauty line going down the side. Also, it's got an aftermarket 3D printed grille and headlight piece. That's pretty cool. But not only that though, but this thing has custom iron on all sides. And look at that, yes folks, that is real rust. No paint, no powder, no faking, that's the real deal right there. But the cosmetics weren't really my reason for this purchase. The reason is what lies below the body. This is an Axial SCX10 chassis with a custom looking front leaf spring setup and a few other aftermarket goodies as well. It's a little loose in spots, a little worn, not the best travel, although I'll get quite a bit more travel in the rear if I cut down this bolt that hits one of the upper forelinks. Yeah, sure, you've got the odd stripped out crosshead self-tapping screw, but overall this thing is mint. Electronics, they're there. Stock motor, Tactic servo, Traxxas ESC, which is kind of an interesting choice, but yeah, it all looks well enough. Supposedly, this thing is geared real low, and it does feel like that when rotating the gears, which is generally how I like to set up my crawlers anyways. I do like the wagon wheels, although this one here that's not assembled correctly does bug me a bit. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about it. It is what it is, I guess. A little tired, but seems relatively solid. Maybe needs a little work in a few spots, but more or less seems about perfect for my needs. And you've got to remember, this whole chassis is just basic SCX10 with a little RC four-wheel drive on the front suspension, so upgrades and replacement parts will be no issue to get, which can't be said for all used crawlers you may find, so keep that in mind. Well, the listing said that this thing was ready to run, so let's put that to the test. Now, I don't have any batteries with this Traxxas plug, nor any adapters, so I'm going to need to swap it out for a Dean's connector. No big deal, just solder on that new connector, and we're good to go. The truck powered on and it seems to work just fine. So I tried to crawl over a few items sitting around the shop, though that proved to be harder than I thought, as none of them were really heavy enough, but eventually I was able to start to get an idea of this crawler's capabilities. Here it had some issues getting up due to the leaf spring mount up front, but with a little stair step it got up just fine. This crawler is definitely geared low and I really like that. I went outside and found a few rocks to play around on. Obviously it's a bit dark out, but hopefully you can get an idea of this truck's abilities. It's definitely a different experience driving a truck with these small tires. It's not something I'm really used to, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. Finally, I thought I'd take you all for a little ride. Yeah, it's certainly not perfect and could use a little work, but hey, it functions and it stayed together. If you want to see me take this truck out to the woods and really test on it, leave a comment below, but obviously it was a tad bit late to do it this evening. So now with all that complete, I guess here comes the dilemma. What do I do next with this truck? Should I part it out and use it for another project? Or should I keep it as is and maybe add a few extra scale details to it? Should I try to flip it and buy something better? I really don't know. I'm kind of digging the 4Runner, but I also want to hear what you all think below in the comments. Alright, so I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what did I pay for this truck? Now, like I said, this was the cheapest truck that I could find that was a ready-to-run, hobby-grade, recognizable brand. And I wouldn't consider what I paid for this 4Runner a smoking deal by any means. Now, I paid $200 for it, plus the cost to have it shipped. I think it was fairly reasonable. So the way I sort of looked at it was, what is the cost of a brand new comparable crawler? So the closest thing from Axial would be a ready-to-run SCX10 which seems to run around $350 to $400. So okay, we're maybe around the ballpark of 50 to 65% of what a new one would cost. Now maybe take some points away from the 4Runner for being an older version of the SCX10, but maybe give it some points for the cool looking wheels, hop-up parts, and real rust. I mean, you can't buy patina like this, people. Well, at least not new anyways, but hey, you can buy ripped jeans, so how about pre-damaged crawlers? Next big thing in RC? I think so. Of course, as a YouTube content creator, I also thought the premise of buying the cheapest crawler I could find and doing an unboxing and test drive and maybe building it into something kind of cool would be more interesting than just buying something brand new right off the shelf. Maybe someday I can be the Hoovies garage of RC. Well, I can always dream, but that's going to be all for today's video. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and don't forget to let me know what you all think I should do with this 4Runner below in the comments. And do you think 200 was fair, too high, or a great deal? I'm really curious to get your thoughts on that. But as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.